Do you remember what we did in the last class? As you said, proposal writing, right? So what was a proposal writing? What was the main focus of a proposal writing? Excellent. So a proposal writing, we write to get approval, right? Probably to get some fund or probably get assigned with a task, anything like that. So when you're done writing a proposal, now suppose your proposal was approved, now you did the research. So after that, what are you going to do? You'll write a report on it, right? So you're done doing the research, done doing the task. Now you will do a report writing. So our topic today is report writing. Now, do you have any idea of report writing? I mean, what do you understand by a report? What do you think a report is? What do we include in a report? Any idea? Anything? Published in report. Okay. So what you're trying to say, in short, that if some incident happen, you report, right? You write a report. Yes. So what is a report? So report presents some factual information. So what is factual information? Do we know what is fact? Excellent. Something happened, something true. So when you say factual information, that means some true information. This is not something fictional. This is a non-fiction. This is fact, right? So when you say fictional, that means it's a imaginary character, imaginary thing, right? So when I'm saying factual information, that means some true information. So in a report, you present some true information, you give some recommendations or conclusions, you give some headings, you have to give some clear and precise language, right? Remember when we did our proposal writing, we said that you have to use simple language. Do you remember that? Why? Why did you say we have to use simple language?
Because audience they know bombastic language.
Right, excellent. So you do not know your audiences or your readers' language ability, right? That's why you have to use the simple language so that it's easy for them to understand what you're trying to say. Similarly, in a report, we do not use complex language. We also use a little bit of simple language, right? Now, there are few types of reports. There are business reports, professional technical reports, and research reports. So today we are only going to focus on the business report. In the following classes, we will do the professional reports and research reports. But for this course, business report is the most important part. Okay. So when I say business report, is there anything that clicks you? I mean, why do you think we might write a business report? The definition should be in the name. Excellent. The report is relevant to your work, right? So some report that you write for your work purpose is the business report, right? Okay, now from now on, I will expect some answers from the girls as well. Take it, sir? Okay. Now, so business reports are used to help business leaders to make decisions. Right, so you write a proposal, this is approved, then you did your research, you wrote the report. Now the leader, the boss, your management is going to take a decision after reading your report, right? In a business report, you might be asked to do one or more of the following. So, ekhane je diya ache, you might be asked to do either one of that or probably all of them or probably two of them. So, what can be the situations? You might ask it to analyze the situation, to identify the key issues, what is the problem, what's causing them, and you also offer some solution, right? Or you might evaluate a procedure, identify the problem with it, and then you propose solution. For example, for the second one, in our university, hybrid classes are going on, right? So we're trying to have classes for faculties from outside the country, right? Now, you might be assigned to a task that, okay, you sit here, you see how these classes are going on. If the procedure is going well, what are the loopholes, what are the problems with that, what are the scopes to improve, right? So when you write a report on that, so you're writing a report on a process, right? So that is the second, you're evaluating the process because it's already happening, isn't it? So you're evaluating means you're assessing the process and then you're writing the report. And for the first one, probably a crisis going on, right? So you would be assigned to go look at the crisis, why this crisis is happening, what are the causes, and how do you think that you might give some solutions. Clear. And then you might be asked to give some recommendations, propose some strategies to deal with, right? So for example, if for a company, they might start a new product, so they can send you to the market, to the field, to do a research and then write a report. There might not be any problem, you just come up with a strategy, right? So it varies report to report, what kind of language, what is you are going to do. You understand? You might be asked to just analyze a problem, you might be asked to evaluate a process that already been going on, or you might do a new research, you might launch a new product, then you have to do some field research, right? You have to go to the field, do the market assessment, and then come up with a strategy. Are we clear the purpose of the report and what is a report? Any question? Anything? No? So should we move on? Yes? Excellent. Okay. So parts of a business report. So there are usually 10 parts when you're writing. This is more or less the frame of it. So first you have a covering letter, you have a title page, you have table of contents, executive summary, introduction, body of the report, recommendations, conclusions, appendix, references, right? These are the parts you should include in a good report. Now, let's see what these parts are. So the first is the covering letter or transmitted document. So this is the face of your report, the first page. Can you please put it in silent? All the phones should go in silent, okay? So this covering letter, it directs the reporter to the person who asked for it, right? So you are assigned to a work, right? Then you are writing the report. So you should include the information about the person you are writing to, and then you briefly describe the scopes of the report. What are the key facts of the report? What this report is talking about, but very briefly. It has to be very short, right? And then summarize what report shows. It very short, so that at one glance you can understand what are you looking at, right? And then this section of the business report. So usually if you are writing an assignment in your school or in university, you don't have to include this, okay? But if you're actually writing a report in a real life situation for a corporate life, you are bound to give this covering letter, okay? So in this letter, you are addressing someone, right? You are addressing whoever the company assigned you the work or the person who assigned you the work, okay? Then comes the title page. So we all know what is the title page, right? So in the title page, you include the title, logos and everything. You also you give the name. So it says the title, which is usually in the form of a noun or a noun phrase. So we all know that noun is a name, isn't it? Or what is a noun phrase? When there are more than one word. So we usually know one word, like a name. For example, Johid is a noun, right? Now, if I say story of Johid, that is a phrase, isn't it? So that is a noun phrase because it's still giving you a name, but it's not only one word. When it's more than one word, but still a noun, then you call it a noun phrase. Are we clear? Okay. So in this page, you give the noun phrase. So you give the name of the paper. You give the date of the submissions. Also, you give the name of the writer or the writers, because sometimes a report can be written by more than one author. So you give the names of them, and then who the report is for or the client name, right? Okay. Then the table of content. Do we all know what is the table of content is? Index, yes. So at one side you give the content name, at another side you just give the page number, where to find it. And this is very important. Why? Because as I said before, your reader is not going to read the whole report. It's very time consuming. He's just going to look at the content and find whatever he needed to read, right? So you have to provide these as well. Now, executive summary. What is a summary, or what is an executive summary? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? What do you think?
Overall discussion about our project.
Overall discussion about your project? Yes. Anything from the girls? Just smiling? I love the smiling face, but probably anything that comes to your mind. No? What is summary? Excellent. So that is like briefly saying how the project took place. Very good. So in this section, you summarize the main findings and you include the purpose of the report, your scopes of the report, all your key findings, right? You have to include that. Probably just the name of the findings. You don't have to explain all this. You just you just state the main findings. Okay, you give all the recommendations if there's any, and then now this summary should be 15 to 20% long. It shouldn't be too long. Okay, and also executive summaries are not always required. So this is up to you. If it's required, you always get a format. If they do not ask for the executive summary, you can skip that part, right? But usually a good report has it, but you can always omit this part. And then there comes the introduction. We all know what is an introduction, right? What is an introduction? Excellent. Happy, it's from a girl. So introducing, you are introducing something. So authorization, you state the problem you are going to talk about. It also says definitions if needed. Now when you are writing a report, you might come across some terms that's not very available. খুব বেশি পরিচিত term না, right? তখন what we do, for example, you're doing a research on linguistics or one side of linguistics, and there might be some topics like syntax, morphology, morpheme, semantics. Now your writer might not know them, right? So what you're supposed to do, you just have to define them in the introduction so that they know what, because in the report you are not going, apni bar bar kore you are not going to repeat what is a syntax, what is morphology, right? So in the beginning, in the introduction part, you are going to define them so that it's easy for them to understand later on. So you don't have to apni bar bar kore unake bolben na, but apni if you do not define it at first, and then probably you didn't define it at all, he won't understand all the terms, all the technical terms, right, from a department. Like, for example, if you are reading a report of engineering, if I am reading an engineering report, I wouldn't understand anything unless he gives me some definitions at the beginning, right? Because we don't have time to Google it. Like, I'm reading something and then I don't understand, Google it. You cannot do it repeatedly, right? So you have to make it as easy as possible for the reader. So in introduction, you have to put the definitions as well. You have to summarize or give a summary of the methods you use. What are the methods you use for to do your research? Like, did you do an interview? How did you do it? Very briefly. And then your introduction shouldn't be long. It's 10 to 20% of your report, right? So you don't give a word count because you don't know how long the report is. So you have to remember this should be 10% of my whole writing, or this should be 20% of my whole writing. Do you understand? Okay. Any questions so far? No. No question? Okay, great. There comes the body of the report. Now, you know what is body of the report. Like, what is body? What do you write in the body? Suppose you're writing an essay. What do you write in a body? You analyze, you give, excellent, you describe, you give more information in the body paragraph. This is your scope to give all the information you have. Till now, you see, till now you were writing summaries, right? Now you are going to elaborate your summaries. Now you can write everything you researched on. In this report, it includes what the issues is. Now you can completely state the problem. Whatever problem you are facing, whatever problem is, what's causing it, you can write everything in this part. What methods were used to investigate or the research, or was it a primary research? Was it a secondary research? So when we say primary research, did you just read the books to find out the solution, or did you did a survey, or did you do a interview, or any kind of other research procedure, right? Or how did you analyze the information? What kind of theme you used? Or you have to state all the findings you found and then describe them. Now, this is not only one paragraph. This might be more than 2. It can be 10 paragraphs. It can be 12 paragraphs, depending on your findings, right? In one paragraph, you just write about the problem. Another paragraph, you might write how you investigated it. Another paragraph, you give all how you analyzed it. And then there might be probably 10 or suppose 5 findings you give. So for each finding, you have one paragraph. Then you might have 2 or 3 solutions. For each paragraph solutions, you will have one paragraph. Do you understand? Okay. And then you give recommendations. In this part, you will recommend what action the client should take, if they should have anything specific, anything realistic, and then whatever analysis, whatever data support you have, right? This is again a small part. So you see, only the body is actually the elaborated part. The rest of this is only summaries and summaries. So report writing is not that difficult. And then you give a conclusion, again summary, isn't it? So conclusion means briefly you restate. So as I said, you restate, মানে আপনি আবার একই জিনিস বলবেন in a different language, ঠিক আছে? And summarize is the main points of the report, and then mention any limitations of the report. Now, this is a very important part, stating your limitations. Whenever you are doing a research, you have to have a limitations. You can বলে না কোনো মানুষ 100% correct না, ব্যাপারটা এরকম না. So there is no report, any research which is 100% reliable. Why? For example, you are probably asked to do a report on something, a problem worldwide or probably Bangladesh wise, but you cannot go outside Dhaka. So in your conclusion part, there will be a part of limitations where you will say that for some restrictions, I couldn't go outside of Dhaka and couldn't collect any data from there. So this is one of my limitations, or one of the challenge of my paper, that I couldn't take any data outside Dhaka. So that is your limitation. So whatever thing you thought, if you could do it, it would probably enhance your report, but you couldn't do it. So that is your limitation. Or you can say, I couldn't find something. For example, you are doing a research on this classroom, or the textile classroom I had this morning. They only had one girl, right? So you probably are doing a research on them. So one limitations will be that there wasn't enough female to provide you the feedback, right? So these are the limitations that you thought if you had that, your research would be better, but you didn't have the hold on to it. Understand? So you have to clearly state the limitations so that the reader knows there is still some scope, right? And then from these limitations, another research can be done. রাইট, এভাবেই একটা লিমিটেশনস থেকে আরেকটা রিসার্চ, এই জন্য যুগ যুগ ধরে একই জিনিসের উপর রিসার্চ হতে থাকে। ডু আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড? আচ্ছা, তারপরে হচ্ছে অ্যাপেন্ডিক্স, এগুলো হচ্ছে পরে হচ্ছে যে সেকশনস ওয়্যার ইউ পুট অল দ্য সাপোর্টিং ম্যাটেরিয়ালস। ফর এক্সাম্পল আমরা বলি না যে আপনার রিপোর্টটার সাথে ইউ গিভ অল দ্য সার্টিফিকেটস ইউ হ্যাভ, অল দ্য ডেটাস ইউ হ্যাভ, আপনি question, if you have questionnaires you give all the questionnaires, or else আপনার reader might say আপনি probably you just made it up, মানে what's the proof? I mean মনে করেন যে বলা হচ্ছে যে হ্যাঁ ওরা এটা চাচ্ছে, আপনার রিপোর্টের এগেনস্টে বলা হচ্ছে যে এই জিনিসটা দরকার। এখন how will you reader know that this is truth without the evidence? So this is the evidence. আপনি তো বলতে পারেন আসলে you want it, that's why you wrote a report in a way that looks like they want it, but you have to provide all the datas, all the supporting, exactly, experience letters, supporting datas, so that it's reliable. Your report is a reliable report, right? And then references, if you have any references, whatever books you use. So in the references list, what we do, to do any research, first you read some journal, you read some newspaper, you read some books, isn't it? So you have to refer all them in the references. আপনি তাহলে you cannot plagiarize, তাহলে আপনার চুরি হয়ে গেল কারো কথা। if you just put them, হ্যাঁ, if you just put them, then it will be plagiarism. To avoid that you have to give references, তাদেরকে তারা যে বড় বড় লোকরা যে এত কিছু হেল্প দিয়ে গেল, you have to give the credit in the references. আমরা APA format ইউজ করি, ওটা আপনারা যখন রিসার্চ মেথডোলজি করবেন you will know how to do APA. So APA format you have to give all the references, right? So are we clear so far? Yes. So I will provide you a report, sample report that has a very excellent one. I wanted to print it, but we don't have a color printer, so black and white it really doesn't look good. So I'll give you that. So I'm going to give you another thing. This is to help you. So this is essay plan. I've seen you guys struggling how to plan the essay and how to start an essay. So I've given a video of mine, I've uploaded that as well. So that tells you about all the structure and how to structure an essay. I didn't have the class with you. So this is a very updated one. This is from Macquarie University. So they have updated in 2020. So 2020 is updated format so that you don't struggle what to write in the introduction. What to write in the introduction or what to write in a conclusion in the body paragraph. আমি একটু এক্সপ্লেইন করে দিব আজকে সো দ্যাট আপনাদের এসে করাটা ইজি হয়। আচ্ছা একটা করে রেখে একটু পাস করে দিবেন সো দ্যাট হয়।